In the previous video, we learned how to determine equilibrium with the help of AS equal to AD approach. In this video, we are going to learn how to determine equilibrium with the help of S equal to I approach. So we have already discussed S and I function in the previous chapter. Now we can have the repetition of S and I function. Here is the saving function curve. Here we have to observe x-axis shows disposable income or national income, y-axis shows saving income. Both have positive relationship. That's why it is sloping upwards. So S function is a linear function as both have positive relationship. But saving function starts with a negative value. This shows that in the beginning, that is when the income level is 0, savings will be negative. So it always starts with a negative value. Here is the investment function. The things which we have to observe in this investment function are x-axis shows income and y-axis shows investment. Here investment is parallel to x-axis. This shows it is an autonomous investment. So we learned in the previous video there are two types of investment. One is autonomous investment, the other one is induced investment. In the autonomous investment, even when the GDP increase or decrease, for the benefit of the social welfare, government invest in few projects like education, health. So that is autonomous consumption. Whereas in induced consumption, only if the GDP increases, government will undertake few projects. In this approach, we assume only autonomous investment, not the induced investment. This tabular column is helpful in determining equilibrium GDP in terms of S equal to I approach. For this, we have to consider income. As we know, for different level of income, the consumption increases. So with the help of income and consumption, we can derive savings. So how to calculate savings? It is very simple and easy. Just by subtracting income and consumption, we can derive savings. So in the first case, we take when the level of income is 0, consumption is 30. In that case, savings will be minus 30. So here as we have considered only autonomous investment is constant for all level of income. In the first 3 level of income, consumption is greater than the income. So the savings will be naturally negative. So once the income is more than the consumption, only then savings is possible. Savings will be positive also. So in that case, if you see at income level 120, the consumption is 90 and savings is 20, investment also 20. So the equilibrium is achieved only at this point where savings and investment are same. Therefore, equilibrium is struck when S equal to I equal to 20. That is when the level of income is 120, savings and investment are equal, that is 20. Here is the graphical representation of S equal to I approach. For this, first we should draw income in the x-axis and savings or investment in the y-axis. Next we should draw saving line which starts from the negative point, negative quadrant. Then we should draw the autonomous investment which is parallel to x-axis. The equilibrium is struck when S and I meets at a point. So this is how we will derive the equilibrium with the help of S equal to I approach. Maintaining equilibrium always is very difficult. Sometimes either savings will be greater than investment or investment will be greater than the savings. So what will happen when savings are greater than investment? Here are the consequences when savings are greater than the investment. So first thing is there will be less in expenditure. Since we are saving more, the expenditure will be less. Aggregate demand or expenditure would be less than the desired purchase. So the planned expenditure will be less than the actual. Since we spend less, the output with producer will be unsold and he will have undesired stock. So the producers, he will plan for the lesser output. Only if we spend more, the producer will produce more. If there is less expenditure by individual, he will stop the production, and less output implies less income. Less income refers to saving. So this process will continue till S equal to I. So thus equilibrium is restored. In short, when savings are more than investment, the demand will be less and the production will be less, output will be less, income will be less, and savings also will be less. Now let's see what happens when savings are less than the investment. So this is just opposite to the previous one. Here fall in expenditure as savings are less than investment. So here also expenditure is less because savings are less than the investment. So we prefer only investment, not saving. Then aggregate expenditure would be greater than the desired purchase. So we will be spending more than what is required. So this is a situation where demand is greater than the supply. Actually the individuals demand more, but the supply will be very less in the production. So here also the producers will suffer loss because they cannot fulfill the demand of the individuals. So the producers plan for higher output. So to satisfy the wants of consumers, they have to produce more. Once the producer produces more output, it implies that everyone will earn more income. If income is more, what does it mean? It means savings also more. So this process will continue till S equal to I. So here also the equilibrium is restored. So in both the cases, either savings is greater than investment or savings is less than investment. Until it reaches equilibrium, this consequences will be there. So producers adjust accordingly to restore the equilibrium. Three basic assumptions are undertaken while determining the equilibrium. First one is short period analysis. This we discussed in the beginning of the lesson. So we assume only short period analysis to determine the equilibrium. Then we take only two sector closed economy. So we know that there are four sectors. If it is closed economy, we should consider only consumption and investment. So see, the third assumption is aggregate supply is perfectly elastic. Keynes assumes that AS is perfectly elastic. It means that we are studying an economy in which where there is excess capacity. So production capacity is lying idle or there is unemployment of resources. So that whenever there is a rise in aggregate demand, there is a corresponding rise in aggregate supply also. Thus aggregate supply always aligns itself with aggregate demand without causing any change in the price level. To end up this session, we can have a small recap. We learned S equal to I approach to determine the equilibrium. For this we need to learn S function, I function, and with the help of tabular column and diagram we can represent the equilibrium. We discussed the consequences when savings are greater than investment and savings is less than investment. What the producer should do to maintain the equilibrium. And finally, we learned the assumptions required to determine the equilibrium. Hope you understood the concept. If you have any doubts, you can clarify with me. Thank you. Have a great day.